Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Sri Kumarswami College Ausa heartily greets all the honorable dignitaries and participants here at the virtual platform for the International E-Conference. The topic of International E-Conference is the quantum being. I am happy to inform all the delegates and dignitaries that the college Sri Kumarswamy College Ausa daily organizes a webinar series, national and international. Simultaneously, it organizes conferences also. The college is affiliated to Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded, from Maharashtra, India. All these efforts, arranging of seminars, webinars, and conferences, it is due to the strong academic leadership of Honorable Principal Dr. E.M. Ambedkar sir, who is the chief organizer of today's International E-Conference. Today I am feeling honored to inform all the delegates that today we have the chief guest and keynote speaker, Honorable Shehnaz Soni ma'am, who is NASA scientist and going to deliver a lecture on the topic the quantum being. I welcome both the chief organizer and chief guest of this international e-conference. And before the actual keynote address by the chief guest, I would like to invite Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar sir for his introductory words. Please sir, welcome.
Thank you, Prakash sir. I welcome to our respected resource person scientist madam, rocket scientist madam from NASA, United States, Shehnaz Soni madam. I welcome all the participants, those who are joined from India and few are abroad. Also welcome to my participants, those who are joined from my institute. Today we are going to listen from a scientist which is basically of physics. So she wrote a book, The Quantum Being, and the title she will explain. And as her journey of this intellectual journey as a scientist and in the subject she will deliver today. We welcome to her on behalf of my institute and all the participants, and welcome again madam. After your introduction we will start your speech. Kindly proceed, Prakash Karad sir, please.
Thank you, sir, for your introductory speech. Now, I would like to give introduction of today's chief guest and keynote speaker. Shehnaz Soni ma'am is an accomplished aerospace engineer, an author, a quantum healer, a spiritual alchemist, and a proud mother. Continued engineering at the University of Karachi. At the age of 21, Shehnaz's first transformational journey brought her to Los Angeles via an arranged marriage where the path of challenging lessons, emotionally charged experiences, and roadblocks, including cultural language barriers, began. As she tried to acculturate to her new life, Shehnaz reawakened her trailblazer instincts and chose the path of transformation. She thinks she is living the adventurous life of a Star Trek cadet, where science fiction interests reality. Current her current position as an aerospace engineer for NASA, combined with her passion to serve humanity with her ancient wisdom, enables her to uh, converge science and innovative technology to honor our multidimensional experience. Shehnaz has worked as the rocket scientist for both Boeing and NASA. She is currently working with NASA as a senior system engineer for the for the Artemis projects. She and her cutting edge team are working towards the unprecedented human landing system. When ready to launch, this system will bridge mankind with a long term presence on the moon and ultimately on Mars. Shehnaz is the author of The Quantum Being, a self sustaining and magnificent human craft, seamlessly views together science, spirituality, and ancient wisdom. She is she brings she begins by introducing the mind bending concepts of quantum mathematics where atoms dance and practicals defy conventional rules. I have given the brief introduction of today's keynote speaker and chief guest, and now I would like to invite the chief guest for her keynote speech. Please, ma'am, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Prakash, and thank you, Dr. Betkar, for introducing me and for bringing me to this gathering. And I actually want to thank you guys for doing what you are doing, to connecting someone like me who lives on a whole other part of the planet with your team, because that's admirable that you're taking the step in the right direction to bring people closer together so we can exchange information that can transform us at the DNA level. So I'm absolutely grateful for this gathering. Thank you for the introduction. And of course, I'm originally from Karachi, Pakistan, which means that most of you guys can understand the type of culture I was raised in. And I want to give you a little bit of a quick intro only to show you that sky has no limit. Because when I was growing up, my dad was not encouraging me to go to school because he always thought that I should ultimately be parked in the kitchen. So therefore, I had no reason to study. Like his mind was very pragmatic. And as much as he didn't want me to do that, I ended up becoming a valedictorian in my college, which helped me to get the arranged marriage and come to LA. So the point of sharing this is that we all have that inner drive, that inner fire that tells us to do something. And no matter what anybody says, you have to follow that fire. And I would really like everybody who's already here, if you like, you can truly turn your camera on. I'm going to share you a little bit about my journey and a little bit about my concept in the book Quantum Being and why this is the good time for humanity to embrace the concept. This is the book Quantum Being I have in my hand. And but I would love for everybody to ask me questions and truly look at this as an opportunity to interact with me, like to create that quantum entanglement. Because and you can ask me about the space, you can ask me about pretty much anything in terms of the consciousness, reality, time, because those are all my favorite subjects. So the whole thing started for me. The journey of the consciousness started for me when I felt that I was caged in my body, like a genie in a bottle. Like I felt it when I was very young. And as soon as I felt it, I started feeling like I wanted to leave that body. Like my quest was that I'm trapped and I need to do something about it. And at that time, when I recognized myself in this confined space, I was taken by the fact that I was in a very, very orthodox and Muslim and patriarchal culture where the dictatorship was incredible. I was not supposed to ask any questions. And not only that, I was supposed to just follow whatever everybody else was doing. So that was my starting point. However, because I knew that I had to honor myself, I kept on doing what made sense. So for me, the best thing was to hide myself in my studies. So I became extremely good in my class. Like I would always make sure that I would either come within the first, second, third grade, because that became my quest, because that was the one place where I could channel my energy and get some sort of quench, like some sort of feeling of that I'm going somewhere. And then the next thing I did was, because I was very aware that if I can speak English, because I went to Urdu speaking school all my life, and I always wanted to speak English. So that was another thing that I prayed. Every single time I would pray, I would say that I would love to speak English one day, because that to me was another dream of mine. So I had all these dreams that were with me. Nobody understood it. Nobody agreed with it. Nobody helped me, except that I did not give up. So then all that fire is building and building and building. And then I turn 21 and I speak to a man for 1 hour. And then I get married with him. And within a week, I come to Los Angeles. So that opened the whole new door for me for experiencing life. And when I came to Los Angeles, my dream of speaking English became true, except that now I had to work for it. I had to actually go to community college and go wherever I could learn the language, because I did not speak the language when I came to LA. So that, but that story by itself gives you an idea that how when you have some fire burning in your heart, no matter what, ultimately you're going to be able to merge with it, because it's part of you. It's part of your dream. It's part of your desire. So you should always make sure that you keep that alive. So I'm going to go a little presentation mode, Dr. Bhatkar, like I'm going to share my screen to give a little preview if everybody's okay with that. And okay. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So basically, the reason I wrote the book Quantum Being, because my ultimate message is the power we seek is the power within. And my name of the company that I'm the CEO of is called Ashes to Sona. And the reason is that you guys all know what the word Sona means, right? Sona is gold. And I wanted to combine the two culture, where ashes represents the Eastern culture, Western culture, and Sona represents the Eastern culture. So I can merge the two as an alchemist on a transformational journey, because we all are an alchemist, right? We all are seeking to understand ourselves. We're all here to transcend ourselves. And in that journey of merging with the consciousness, we have to continuously move through time and space and matter, which is the reason I wrote The Quantum Being, because we are a moving molecule. And I'll explain that further as I go. So, as you know, this is my website where basically you'll find all the information about what I do and what I share, and also things that can help you in terms of your daily life, because I make videos on concepts that truly helps us understand at the subatomic level. Because I feel like if all of us can understand ourselves to that level, we're going to see the similarity between every one of us, no matter whether you are in India or Pakistan or America or wherever you are on earth. If you have a blood and if you are a human, then you have the exact same story. So I actually say that I'm here to empower you to rise up to be the kings and queens of the world, living your highest potential and authentic emotions, leading to an amazing life. Because that is my goal and my quest, that it's time that everybody lives at their highest potential. Because if we all do that within ourselves, then we will not be fighting with people outside of ourselves. So this is my picture that I had taken a few years ago when I was in Egypt. And it kind of represents the combination of my transformation from Eastern culture to the Western culture, where you carry yourself, you carry your essence, that everything that you learn being born in a certain place, but then you take it with you everywhere you go, and you become that light, the shining bright light that completely transforms everybody around you to your frequency and vibration. So yeah, so I was born in Karachi, Pakistan, and I'm sure you guys all can understand where that is and what that is. And I was born, pretty much raised in this building here. And the interesting thing is that when I go to this building, every time, because my family still lives there, and when I go inside the building, and even when I go leading up to my apartment, there is like so much tobacco spit and so much mess and so much dirtiness. And I pass all that through, and then I come to my home, which is very clean. But that's how I see that we have, that's the challenge that we have living in a third world country, is that we have incredibly amazing people, but we are all completely like masked by a whole bunch of mess. And I think if we can clean up the mess, we can go beyond anybody has ever gone. So yeah, that's me with my mom. And already you saw that I actually came here through the arranged marriage. And basically the reason I was able to be chosen out of the 7 girls when my husband came for an interview, he chose me in that 1-hour interview to be a wife, because he asked me some interesting questions. And he asked me that, can I speak English? And I said, no. He said, can you cook? And I said, no. And I said that I can do I can tell you all the signs, Newton's law in English, because I knew I was very studious, but I just didn't know how to speak English. And he actually knew that I was valedictorian, so he basically saw the potential in me. He knew that I would be able to survive in a culture because I have the fire in me, even though I wasn't answering anything yes during the interview. And the thing that happened to me that was a huge challenge for me was that when I came to LA, I wasn't able to get the admission in the schools because of the riots in Karachi. They had put a fail in my mark sheet for one of my class. So I had to actually go and present my case to the vice chancellor of 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐞𝐭 and explain her why I got the fail in that one class. And she gave me a conditional admission, and that led me to graduate as an aerospace engineer from 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐞𝐭 as magna cum laude in 2 years. And basically, I was learning English and engineering at the same time while I had to keep my GPA higher than 3.0. So that led me to ultimately my job working on the International Space Station, where I was actually changing the strain gauges and accelerometer at the Kennedy Space Center, and this is the picture taken there. And that just led me to this whole new way of living, where I always chose projects that were extremely innovative and extremely unique, and which is the reason I'm working on Artemis program today. And of course, if I tell you about my program that I'm working on, that's a whole different show. So I'm not going to go there today, but I can answer any questions. But I want to share you why I wrote the book Quantum Being, because I really wanted to make sure that I have been in this quest of understanding consciousness since I came into existence. And I have been all over the places. I've had many experiences. I have lived in many states. I have worked on many different outstanding projects. I've gone to mystery schools to seek myself and understand myself. I have taught, in metaphysical schools, and I have taught Kabbalah, and I've done all of it. And I wanted to converge the science and spirituality through quantum physics, because quantum physics and Kabbalah are saying the same thing with a different perspective. So what I did was I wrote a book, and in my book, I basically go through this journey, and I call that flight because, we are kind of all in our own flight. And my flight 1 is all about soul recognition, which is where I actually share that how I came into being the person I am today through all of these challenges, obstacles, learning, growing. I have been married twice. I have 4 boys, and one of my sons is a special child. He was born with the cerebral palsy, and he was given a very, very bad prognosis at the 7 months age. And I was told that he's not going to be able to talk or walk. And right now he's going to school to become a meteorologist. So the point is that in every aspect of my life, I was challenged, and I transformed it so that I can shine the light as bright as possible. So that was my Flight 1 basically shares the story of my transformation. Flight 2 shares everything that I learned in the mystery school. And then the Flight 3 Soul Activation shares how I am implementing them in my daily life so I can be the best version of myself no matter the circumstances. And I actually want everybody to understand that we all have a mental, which is where we are thinking. We have our emotion, which is where we are feeling. We have our physical, which is where we are sensing. And therefore, I am. And I basically refer to us as a human craft because I work on a spacecraft. And I say that the quantum being exists in multi-layered simultaneously. So when you're carrying the essence of the quantum being, you are basically not just living in a present, in a 3D reality. You are aware of your emotions, you're aware of what you're thinking, and you're aware of where you're standing in space and time. So you look at yourself from a very different perspective. So when you actually start living like that, then every single thing that happens to you becomes an experience, an experiment, and a quantum entanglement. And then you look at it as like you're playing a Hunger game and you do your best to master yourself. So basically, I always say that this is one of the, there is pictures like that in my books because I explain all that. Because, when we really understand how, we have neurons in our brain, these neurons decompose into cells. And when you go to school, you learn biology, which is all about the cell. The cell decomposes into molecules. And when you actually go and study chemistry, then that's what you learn. Molecules decomposes into atoms, and atoms decomposes into electrons moving around the shell. And when you start seeing the electron when they're moving, then they are not in one, they are continuously moving. So they are being determined, their place is determined by space and time. So when you get into the space and time, then that's when the math comes in, and then it comes into empty sets. But the whole point of this discussion is that every single thing, whether it's a thing versus a phenomena, is completely representation of how you are looking at it. So you can look at something and you can say, I see a moving electron, or you can look at something and you can say, I'm looking at a moving human. It's all the same. So when you start looking at things from all these different perspectives, and when you overlay it on top of each other, then that's how you're able to make sense out of things without taking it in a whole different tangent where you get distracted and disappointed and you create drama in your life and everybody else's. So when you look at yourself as a layered species, layered human being, because we all are, then it just really helps you to hone into your own power. Because we all know that in the physical realm, we live in a physical body. And in the spiritual realm, we can see that we are the essence. The spirit is the essence, and our body is just a vehicle. And in the mental realm is when we are looking, when we are all are continuously thinking. So that is the realm that is always there with us, and we are also feeling. The only reason we look at all of these in a separate category because we don't recognize the fact that we are a multi-layered species and we are all together at the same time. And the only reason we only think of one thing at a time is because we process information in a linear fashion. And therefore, when you start working with all of these layers together, then you show up as a quantum being who actually is honing into all their power. And that when we combine these layers together, then that's when we tap into our consciousness fully. And that is why when we live in a present and when we really are aware of all of these, then we can actually have a very enriching experience. Whether we're having a pain or whether we're having a fun, it doesn't matter, but at least we are all in. And that is the thing, that your consciousness is continuously awaiting to unfold, and it's up to you if you give it a full-fledged, full throttle so that you can experience it all the way. And that integration is pretty much the key message that I have, is that we have to integrate all of our layers, whether we are feeling a pain in our body, whether we are feeling hurt in our heart, whether we're wondering how we fit in the big scheme of life, and whether we are looking at the tree versus the forest. That when we ask the right questions to ourselves, then that's how we actually figure ourselves out, and that's how we integrate ourselves. And once we integrate ourselves, then we can actually help everybody else. But the journey begins inside you. So basically, I want to plant the seed of power within so we can rise the kings and queens of this world, live with harmony and love by showing up for ourselves and others, by harnessing the power from the source. Yes. Oh my goodness gracious. You know what? I wish you would have told me earlier, because I have been like seeing that, but you're not. I had no idea. Okay, so that's not, I'm not sure why I didn't do that. Yeah, you should have told me, because I went way farther. Okay, so it looks like you haven't been seeing anything that I've been seeing. So now I truly don't know, because I press the share button, I say enter. You said you're able to see the screen with a whole bunch of slides, right? Okay. And then when I went into one of the slides and I said slideshow, you were not able to see the slideshow? Okay, I'm not sure why it's not doing that, because I truly have no idea how to make this work, because on my, like when I'm sharing my screen, and when I'm saying slideshow, it's doing it, but apparently you can't see it. So, right. So let's see, how do I change the view? So you're saying that I need to do something here, and I should know how. Okay. Okay, hold on. How about this? Because for whatever reason, I'm not. Okay, so I go into sharing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to maybe do a little different way. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do a PowerPoint slideshow and see if that helps. So let's try that. Tell me if you're seeing the slide. Okay, now tell me when I change it, do you see it?
It is visible now.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to, since I already shared everything, but I'm going to go through a slideshow quickly now. And what I'm going to do is, so you can see, right? So, okay. And so you saw that it's showing the map of Karachi now, right, Dr. Bhatkar?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So basically, yeah, so I was sharing you all of the story, and of course you were not seeing the slides, but now you can see it. And I'll just take a pause on the slide that would give you, and I'm actually more than happy to entertain questions as well, because one of the things I really want to spend more time in is answering questions. So this is one of the, when I was sharing you the story about my getting a valedictorian on the top, and on the bottom I was sharing you the story about the vice chancellor at 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐞𝐭, whom I had to convince to give me an admission. And then, and on the left, you see me getting my magna cum laude and my graduation from 𝐒𝐜𝐢𝐞𝐭. And that was my biggest gift to myself with everything that I went through. And in this picture, you see me inside the International Space Station at the Kennedy Space Center, changing. I was basically responsible engineer for working on the strain gauges and accelerometers. And when I was sharing you about my book, right, that my book is divided into 3 categories. And the very first category is all about recognizing the soul essence within ourselves, going through circumstances, challenges, obstacles, life, and still keeping your core engaged, keeping your fire burning strong. That journey is the reason I'm actually here talking to you guys. Because if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have made it as far as I have. And slide 2 is where I share everything that I've learned by going to the mystery schools. And in the slide 3, I share you my recipe of magical life that you can create for yourself by implementing everything that I have learned in your daily life. And then when I was sharing you about the human craft, right? So I say that I think, feel, and sense. Therefore, I am. Because we are a multi-dimensional species. And then that's when we make miracle happen in our own life. And when I was sharing you about how things versus phenomena, whether you are looking at yourself and saying that I'm made of, or whether you're looking at yourself and wondering that why you're continuously in a different mood, is because you are not a cohesive craft. You are continuously changing within yourself because of what you are fundamentally made of. And when you accept that and understand yourself better, then it makes life so much easier than it has been. And then I was going into this whole thing about how you have to always be aware that you are not just one channel that you're dialing in at a time, because you are a layered species. So you basically have to look and differentiate from the forest versus the tree. You should always be aware that you are a spirit of experiences in this world. And when you understand that, and then you tap into your incredible mind, where you're continuously brewing your thoughts, and then when you feel your emotion while you're going through this quantum dance, then that's when you really, that is the continuous quest that we all are on here to understand ourselves. And that's why we are always going to be work in progress, and we should always make sure that we actually seek knowledge so that we can become one with it. And that's the way I live every day, which is the reason I'm here today sharing what I'm sharing, because that's what I do. I actually teach classes on different subjects because I love working myself through you. And this here is a very good way for you to remember that yes, we do have pain. Yes, we do feel hurt. Yes, we always wonder why we feel so lonely sometimes in 8 billion population, and why things don't work the way we do. But when we actually look inside of ourselves and understand all of this, then that's how we actually transcend ourselves to show up in the best version of ourselves with the vibration and frequency that truly aligns with ourselves. And that's how we actually help everybody around us, because people, like, we are contagious, because we all are soaked into the quantum field. So we're affecting everybody at all times. So when we start working on ourselves, we're actually working on everybody that we love and care for. So this is what I say, that let us plant the seed of power within so we can rise to be kings and queens of this world, live with harmony and love by showing up for ourselves and others, by harnessing the power from the source, by multiplying with love and transparency, and by realizing we are the leaders we have been waiting for. And I actually work, all the projects that I've been working on, they were all somewhat influenced by Dr. Von Braun, who actually lived here in Huntsville, Alabama, which is where I live. And he was quite an inspiration. He was a German scientist. And he says, nature does not know extinction. All it knows is transformation. Everything science has taught me and continues to teach me strengthens my belief in the continuity of our spiritual existence after death. So we are in this quantum dance of law of conservation of energy at all times. And what I do to keep up with myself is that I am an avid hiker. I hike, I do my inner child work emotionally. I love to do light body activation, which is where I teach people how to activate their cell voltage to be equal or higher than 70 millivolts, so they can truly heal pretty much anything they have within their bodies. And then I do the mental workshops and retreats. I go to all these places where I exchange, because to me, this is how I keep myself sharp enough so that I can feel that I'm doing the work that I'm here to do. So please, this is my message: shine your light bright. And if you need to check anything that I offer, I also have a very small, tiny YouTube channel where I share interviews with brilliant scientists and whatever I can feel that it's right for humanity. So if you are interested in any of that, please check me out. When you type my name on a Google, you're going to find everything about me, including my LinkedIn and so forth. And I think that kind of concludes the presentation for today. But that was my goal, was to just give you a little taste there. And then I wanted to make sure that I really have time for everybody to ask me questions.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring speech and amazing experiences in your life. You have also talked about the challenges in life and how to overcome these challenges and make our life a wonder. Thank you, ma'am. Now, after your address, I would like to invite participants for discussion. If you have any question or if you want to ask anything, please. Dr. Swanand Shukla, sir, please.
Hello, good evening, Dr. 𝐒𝐜𝐤𝐿, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Wonderful presentation, Shehnaz, ma'am. And the organizing committee, very, very nice presentation we had today. And I really appreciate the ma'am's efforts. I will say it was a quantum jump for your life. Okay, so doing a quantum, instead of, I will say quantum jump. Because there were so many obstacles and you resisted. The rocket has to fly against the gravity. And I think that rocket should have some inner strength to fly, in the sky. So I think you have used the same technique in your life also. So I really appreciate what you have talked today. I'm having two questions, as a NASA scientist, I would ask. One thing is there any extraterrestrial life is really existing, or we are all alone in this universe? That is the first question. And second question is, what are the expeditions of NASA you liked most, excited most? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for what you shared, Dr. Swanand. I love what you said, and actually, I have a quote in my that I use in my book, which is all about how I have used that fuel, the rocket fuel, right, all my life, and I call it my inner fire. So your first question about whether there is any extraterrestrial beings around us, I actually, and I just want to make sure I clarify that everything that I'm going to share and everything I share is my personal opinion. I'm not representing NASA by any means. I represent Shehnaz Soni. And I say that, yes, 100% they have been here. They have been here before even we were here. I actually have had many evidence personally because I have worked on projects that are secret. And plus, I've had people confide in me, partly because of my energy, the way I carry myself. People know that I'm not going to judge them. And I've had personal experiences of witnessing the power of extraterrestrial. And one thing that I can tell you, that when you're ready to embrace that, then you're going to start experiencing that in your own life. You don't even have to go far. You just go in your backyard and look up in the sky. There's just so much happening there. And the second question was that what was my most exciting project? It's interesting because I have to say that for me, when I was, because I have been in so many interesting spaces. But when I look at a girl like me, right? Because at one point I was a girl who was completely covered up in Karachi, and I would be walking by the street, the busy street, and I would see like a bus burning with people in it, right? And I would say that, oh my God, I'm so glad I was not in the bus. So I have been there. I have been in extremely circumstances that are very, we all know, right, living in India and Pakistan, that we have so much mess going on. And then, I have been in a space where I was working in Boeing at the time, and I'm sitting in a room, and it's only 5 or 6 of us, and all of them are 5-star generals, and we're talking about how are we going to protect ourselves from North Korea and Iran, because I'm working on a missile, But the point is that I have created this incredible dynamic experience in my life, and because I can do that, and that's why I want to teach everybody else to do it, I truly look at every single experience as like the most beautiful experience. Because even when I am in pain, I actually realize that I'm in the lowest point in my life and I'm going to go above it, right? So it kind of becomes that the experience becomes like how much essence you are carrying of yourself, right? So the more you become tuned with it, I feel like that I'm enjoying my life more now, because I actually look at everything from a forest, versus tree perspective. And it has really opened me up to look forward with life, with whatever comes.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for your very, very inspirational story of your life, and it will become an example for others also. Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there anybody else having any question, please? Once again, I request participants, if you have any question or if you want to discuss, please, ma'am, go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. 𝐒𝐜𝐿𝐤𝐭, sir, and thank you, Prakash sir and Shehnaz ma'am. It was a wonderful presentation, and really got to know so many new things. I just have a small curiosity, because we are actually not living in a metaphysical, but in a normal world where we do come to hear about positive and negative energies. On one side, law of conservation of energy, like you said, and of course it is, that energy can never be created nor be destroyed, but it can transform from one form to another. And at the other hand, we have a law of attraction, which talks about that if you actually expect good or positive, it will multiply and it will come back to you. So that's perfectly fine. But being a normal human being, every one of us, of course you talked about your great experiences, but everyone faces low and highs in life. So when it comes to law of attraction, do you think it nullifies somewhere the existing law of conservation of energy?
Okay, so one thing I wanted to explain, all of this is the same, right? So like, whatever you're feeling, just think about yourself, that whatever you feel, wherever you go, there you are, right? So when you're feeling not happy, then you are in that space. When you're feeling good, you're in that space. Your law of attraction, which is same as quantum entanglement, is at work in all spaces, right? So when you're feeling like shit, have you noticed when you feel like shit, everything goes wrong? Like every single thing, it's like a vicious cycle, like it's like a continuous down, right? And when you're feeling good, everything looks like it's going up. But at the end of the day, we were not meant to stay in one place at a time forever, right? That's why we are when you look at the, like every single thing that we detect, even if you want to detect an existence of extraterrestrials, we look under the oscilloscope and we look at that, and the way they show up is in the form of waveform. So everything boils down to a waveform. So what I'm saying is that when you start understanding that you are, basically doing the quantum dance with everything in your life, and you get to decide what channels to dial in. It's almost like, when we're watching a TV, we decide the channel. It's the same way with your life. And the thing is that when you're feeling sad, you should never try to get out of it because you feel like, oh my God, this is embarrassing, or oh my God, people may judge you. Because it's better for you to understand what is the cause of it. And that's where the inner child work comes in. Because when you understand that, then you're not going to go through that exact same experience again. Because until you figure that out, you're going to keep creating different venues for you to experience that, because that is the way the subconscious works, right? It just keeps bringing us something in a different form, in the form of different people, different experiences, or different places. But then you're going through the Groundhog Day until you solve that loop.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, I mean, there was a movie, a very popular movie, Three Idiots, and there was a.
I love it. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
There was a phrase, all is well. So, it was like keep repeating all is well and all will be well. So, I mean, there I was thinking about law of attraction and how it, coming down to law of physics or conservation of energy. And there I was, in fact. But you explained me very well. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Welcome.
Very good evening, ma'am. Shehnaz ma'am. Very good evening,
Yes,
Shehnaz from India.
Yes,
It was very informative session from your end, ma'am. My question with regard to academics, the quantum, as you was story I heard about it, it was very astonishing for me, really. Now, my question is that here in India, especially in the down south, there is a craze of people to opt for into academics, like only medicine or something like a few engineering courses like computer science, something. To being a NASA scientist, what would be your suggestion? How one can really go for this as you are into the NASA? Everybody's dream that the students should go into NASA. So, what is your suggestions for the youngsters, even the teachers community?
So I will tell you one thing. It's interesting because there was a person at LinkedIn reached out to me because he is an inventor, and he's actually currently in Germany, but he's originally from India, and he had even gotten a honorary award from the Prime Minister of India. And he was sharing with me that he has all these inventions and he wants to work at NASA. And I had a 1-hour conversation with him, and apparently I was able to convince him that he should follow his heart and not be so attached to following a corporation. So what I would say is that NASA definitely has a lot of amazing things going on. And if it is meant for you to work at NASA, then definitely you should strive for it. Like for me, my dream wasn't to work for NASA. That is not how I follow my dangling carrot. I actually wanted to understand my consciousness, and in the process, I follow a certain path. And I do feel good about working at NASA right now because of what I'm doing. But to me, we all have our essence that can be projected through many venues. You don't have to work for NASA to shine your brightest light. But if that is something that is going to work with your dance that you're going to do with your quantum dance, then you should do it. But don't put all your emphasis in working for NASA just because there are many other organizations that are as good as NASA is. Like, I mean, NASA has a big name, of course. But at the end of the day, I feel like the world is going to start changing in the direction of honoring what you are and helping you go where you need to go much more faster than it has been in our generation. I feel like that the new generation that's coming up is very, very bright, and they are not going to go through as much chaos and trial and tribulation to get to their dreams. And like, I mean, I was very impressed that India already went to the dark side of the moon, right? And we have been working on the project to go to the dark side of the moon. So I actually feel like that you never know that you may have the most amazing gift right in your backyard while you're looking to traverse uh, oceans to get somewhere. So I think just keep your mind open. But that's just the way I see it.
Thank you so much, Naja. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Here is
evening.
Pratibha. Ma'am, I want to ask, can you share any experience of your intuitive experience? Because what happens with me, sometimes whatever my vision is, whether it is in dreams, later or sooner I come across those things. Can you share such kind of experience of a journey?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you're
Thank you,
tapping
dear.
into dreams. Do you know that our dreams actually is the gateway to our subconscious mind? And it's very important that we should honor every information that comes in your awareness, whether it comes through your dream or whether it comes through your messages. I actually have like so many experiences where, so I'll share you a story there. So like this was March 2020, and it was March 12th, 2020. And because of the whole COVID situation, they were very much announcing everywhere that they will close the border down. I was about to travel to Brazil for my life. That was for my spiritual training. I wanted to become a life activationer under King Solomon lineage. So I was about to fly to Brazil, and every single family member and everybody, all my boys, everybody told me, "Don't go, mom," because they were worried that if the border closes, I won't be able to come back. And I went to the bank to get some money because I was preparing for the flight, but I was not sure what should I do. And I started asking this question to myself. I said, should I go or should I not? And right when I was doing this, right, I see this big truck right in front of me parked while I'm trying to get home after picking some money from the bank. And the truck said, "Are you ready to serve?" And when I saw that, you see my point. So I was asking a question in my heart, and the message was being conveyed through the universal system. And right away, I had no qualm about it that I'm going to go because I'm actually going because I want to learn this technique so I can serve others. And that fire burned so bright that all the other things disappeared. And I was supposed to be there for 10 days, but I finished my training in 6 days, and then we were asked to leave because they were closing the border down. And I came back, and one day after, America closed the border to Brazil, and they closed the border to us. So you see, I actually got my mission accomplished. I got my certification. I did something daring. I came back safe home, and it all worked out. But I followed something. You see, so yeah, definitely, I'm great to hear that you're following your intuition because that's the best method of communication.
Because our subconscious or conscious tells us what is to be done.
Exactly.
We get signals. We get signals.
We get signals all the time. The only problem is we get in our own way.
We don't respond some many times to them. But we must be careful. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Welcome.
Thank you.
Right. So, Dr. Bhatkar, are you asking me a question? Oh, you're asking me what is soul according to me? Okay, so it's interesting because I actually explained that in my book too. But soul, there was a scientist, like I think that was 1900 or something, when he actually weighed the soul, the weight of the soul. And I think he said something about 21 ounce. There was some sort of measurement that he did, right? I personally think and I have gone to mystery school where I learned that we actually do have like permanent seed atom in our bodies. They are not directly in our bodies; they're more on our etheric body, which means they're not in our physical bodies. They're more in our auric field, and they actually carry the essence of everything we do. So what I'm saying is that the soul basically is that essence that records all the information that is important for your transformation from one stage to another. When you change this garment and then when you transform into another vistas, then that soul does kind of go with you because you carry the essence through that USB drive. It's like a USB drive, but it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's a soul essence. So yeah, that's how I think of it as I'm a software engineer. So I think of that as more like yeah, so it's kind of one of those drive that's built in within us,
I
right?
got it.
And
Now, last question, very personal question. If you show your palms, there are rings, okay? And the ring is having with crystals. So, being a scientist, how crystals you have wear as a ornament or a energetic or any theme behind that? In your ring, there are crystals.
yes, yes, because crystal actually, see, we are made of luminous crystalline matrix ourselves. See, the thing is that if you really look at every single thing that comes into existence, it follows a sacred geometry to create that crystalline structure. So when you start understanding that you are a walking and talking crystal yourself, and when you merge with certain crystal that carries a certain essence, then what you're doing is you're creating a quantum entanglement because you are actually deliberately changing your frequency and vibration through that interaction.
Yes, that crystals give you energy. It means.
Mm-hmm.
It means that crystals give you energy so that you are wearing it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm wearing like a rose quartz here, which is all about love, right? So this is a rose quartz all about love. And so that because crystal is a storage device. So crystal always will have a stored information in it, and you can actually charge your crystal with your intention. You can use the crystal and you can put a spell on the crystal by stating that what you want it to be, and then you can interact with the crystal through your intention. But just remember that whenever you do anything, the most underlying factor is your intention. And if you intend to do good for yourself and others, then what goes around comes around. But if you intend to do bad for you and others, then what goes around comes around. So see, when you start understanding that law of transformation, you're gonna like, let's just take responsibility for all your actions.
Thank you, Shehnaz Madam. We will also invite you in future also as per your time. Now I hand over next part to our Professor Prakash Garad to express vote of thanks. Thank you.
Yes, sure, welcome.
Excuse me, sir. One question is asking for that madam.
Just to stop, sir. But yes, you can speak shortly, please.
Thank you. What is quantum in real life? What is quantum in real life?
बेदकर सर एक बात बोलना चाहेंगे आज मैं
advantage and disadvantage in career in quantum thinking. Please explain it, madam.
Okay, if the question you're asking is that how does quantum way help you in your career?
Yes.
Okay, so when you think of quantum way, then you are going to, like when you are choosing a career, the question you're supposed to ask yourself is that why do I want to pursue this career, right? So when you start thinking from a perspective of you're not just chasing a dangling carrot, but you want to really understand that why this is the most important thing you want to do, because it's going to affect a really long part of your day when you show up for that career, right? So when you start thinking in a quantum way, you think about all aspects of your existence, that why does it want to dial the channel, and why do you want to spend all your energy into that, and how much you really want it, and how much you're doing it for the sake of selling a perception. So basically, I mean, I'm going into life coaching mode, but what I'm saying is that every single thing that we do when we understand our essence, like we understand how we are at the quantum level, how our quantum steps affect our reality every nanosecond, all of those things ultimately helps you. So it's kind of a lifestyle, right? What I'm teaching. It helps you with your career because you want to make sure that if you're going to choose a career, you truly are home with it. That you truly want to do it, and all of your faculty wants to do that quantum dance, which means it's not you're doing it on a surface, you really mean it. And when you put all your heart and soul in anything, then I have already shared with you that dream does become real.
Thank you. Very, very perfect. Prakash sir, please proceed for the vote of thanks. Professor Prakash sir.
Thank you, sir, for your closing remarks. Now I am here for the vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank today's chief guest, Honorable Shehnaz Soni ma'am from Alabama, United States. She has delivered an inspiring lecture about quantum being. She has told us the experiences of her life and the amazing journey of her life, and this will be very useful for participants and delegates to discover their own energy and make their lives wonderful. So thank you, ma'am, on behalf of the organizing committee of the college. I also thank the chief organizer, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar sir, for arranging such webinars and conferences for the benefit of students, teachers, delegates, participants, and all. So thank you, sir. I also thank active participants, Dr. Rashi ma'am, Dr. Swanand Shukla sir, Dr. Badiuddin, and
Might be internet problem with him. So thank you, scientist Shehnaz Soni madam. You are the respected guest, and in future you will again join here. When you give message to join here, we welcome you. Thank you. Thank you.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Bhatkar and Prakash and everybody else. And have a lovely day, and just keep shining your light bright.
Yeah. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.